Welcome everyone. Welcome to Food Storage 101. And this is Homestead Tessie, Mobile Home Living. I hope you stay tuned. Why is it so dark in here? Everyone, I've shown some light upon the subject, but the number one thing about food storage is you want to have it dark. Darkness in the food storage is the key thing. The other thing is you want to have ventilation in your food storage. In other words, if it's a day where it's breezy, you want to open your door, if it's in a closet, to get some airflow in your food storage. Now, if you're like me and have a mega food storage, then you want to have a place where there's windows that you can open to have airflow. Airflow is really important to food storage as well. You don't want to have a stuffy room. I have a room that is a large room, is a bedroom, and this is my food storage. This is not my only food storage. I have two of them. A lot of times people say, I can't believe you're sharing with the world your food storage. Well, I am. I have no fear about my food storage. I have no fear about sharing it with everyone because that's part of my channel. It's to share with all of you in tangible ways how you can make a difference in your life. So what is this video about? I'm going to talk about the ins and the outs of food storage. Why would you want one? Well, it seems like today I don't have to explain that too much now, do I? In years past, I always had to explain to people, try to convince them why they should have a food storage. In this day and age, there's not much convincing I have to do. But so many people wonder, how can they even start today? How can we start food storage today when things are really bad? That's really easy. We still can, and I'm here to show you how. So, how in the world can we start food storage when we're living in a crisis? Well, I don't recommend you going outside your home unless you have to. But those of us, we still have to go once in a while to the grocery store and get a few supplies. Even I like to go. I went one time through all of this, and that was just yesterday. And I have a video on that as well. But pretty much I'm staying at home and I'm using what I have. But there's a lot of you who are a little too late in having a food storage now, and you wonder, what in the world can you do? Even in this day and age, when you go to the grocery store, my friends, you still are able to buy something relatively cheap. And I talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. I have 600 videos on food storage. I could talk for hours on it because this is basically one of the only things I'm really good at, and that is having a pantry. All right, I'm going to share it with you all again because there's new people that come onto my channel on a daily basis. And whenever I have the word food storage, people seem to come by and take a visit at my channel. Macaronis, noodles are still very cheap. You can still stock up on them. Stock up on your noodles. Buy a pack or two. Buy a pack or two each week, each time you go. I understand people aren't going away like they used to. So this is what you need to do right now for 7 days. I would like you to get a pen and paper because this is a homework assignment and I'm going to be your teacher for today. Those of you who don't know anything about food storage, I'm here to share with you. So take out a pen and paper and I want you to write down in the next 7 days, I want you to write down what foods have you been eating. It's not hard at all. Then the next week I want you to see what those foods are and see if you can stock up on them. How can you do that? I'm not telling you to go out and buy hordes and hordes of food. I'm not telling you to be one of them hoarders of food. But let's say you eat pasta. Maybe you're Italian. Maybe you're like me and you love the carbs because I am a carb junkie. I know that. I know that's why I have a weight problem because I like carbs. But I love carbs because they give me energy. And right in this day and age, it's cheap. Buy yourself. If you get one, buy two. Starry Hilder, when she used to do videos on food storage, she said something that always stuck with me. 1 is none and 2 is 1. In other words, if you buy one and you use it up, it's none. But if you buy two, it goes down to 1. And I always had that philosophy in life. So I've always went and bought 2 or 3 or 4. Noodles is something you can do so much with. Oh my word, I can't even begin to tell you what all you can do with noodles. You all know that. You can put noodles in soup and that would stretch your soup. You can put noodles with just a little bit of butter. Noodles with cheese. As you know, I love my cheese. And you know I love canning cheese. You can put your noodles with tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, any kind of sauce. You can have your noodles plain. Noodles gives you carbohydrates, and carbohydrates, yes, can turn into sugar, but it can also give you energy, and noodles are cheap. Noodles and beans. Okay, so let's see what we can do with our noodles. So I got my noodles here. I could have noodles and chicken. Noodles with green beans, add something to it. You could add a canned soup or even tomatoes. Noodles and ground beef. Noodles and carrots. Noodles and butter. And noodles and beans. Here's some store-bought beans, but I got jars and jars of beans as well. Noodles is a great thing. Don't buy noodles if you never eat noodles. That is the number one thing I want to say about food storage. There's no sense in you buying a truckload of noodles if you don't eat them. Same with rice. Why are you going to buy 50 pounds of rice when you don't eat it? So don't be buying rice if you're not going to eat it. But find the foods that you eat. Now, I know in this time we're living in, it's hard to get fresh fruit if you don't go away, or fresh vegetables. Soon I have a garden and I'll be able to grow them. But if you want to, you should buy frozen vegetables are really good. I love my canned vegetables and I love frozen vegetables. I have both. Both equally does its job. And let me share with you the difference between frozen and the difference between canned. When you can something, let's see, like green beans, you're using your energy one time to can them. Doesn't cost me nothing, does it? It's sitting in my jar now. Doesn't cost electricity to keep it preserved. It doesn't cost me anything to keep it preserved. But then you have it that it's cooked, and you have it that it's easy that you can eat out of a jar. That makes sense, right? But you do lose some nutrition when you can. Now, if you can it with the liquid in it, you have that nutrition as well. If you drain the liquid out of your canned goods, you do lose the vitamins in that. So I try always to eat my vegetables with the liquid in it. Sometimes you do have to drain it. Frozen is easy. Come on. All we have to do is blanch it, throw it into a bag, and just pop it in that freezer. But then we have an issue. What happens if our electric runs out? Now we have a problem. You know, what happens if our freezer breaks? I've heard that happen millions of times with people. Their freezer broke and they had hundreds of dollars in the freezer. But yet having it frozen really is nice. It's very easy, and it's very easy, especially if you're older and you don't have to lug around jars and everything. Food storage is something that you're on a scale, and you're on it like a ladder. Think of it as a ladder, and you have different steps of food storage. You can be down here in your food storage, or you can be up here in your food storage. It's all depends on what you want to do and how much you want to work at it. A little bit about freezing, and we talked a little about canning. So what else do we want to talk about? We could talk about dehydrating. Dehydrating is really simple and easy. It does take a lot of energy to dehydrate everything. But once it's dehydrated, once again, it's in your jar. You're not costing anything to store it. Dehydrating is easy if you have a very small area to work with. You know, not everybody has a bedroom like this. But let me tell you, I only have a 1,000 square foot home, and I turned a bedroom into a food storage. You know, some people have turning their bedrooms into storage of just storing all kinds of stuff that they own. But I turned it into food storage. Food storage is very important to me. It is my passion. It is my element. I'm in my element when I'm in here, because this is something that I look in and I think, wow, you know, all of the years of work put into it, and I just have a real deep proudness of it. Not a proudness of it that I think that I'm all that for having it, but I just really feel good about what I used with my time here on this earth and how I'm using it to teach others and share with other people. So dehydrating is another thing that's really great. You don't have to invest in a lot of canners. You don't have to invest in all that. Dehydrating is another thing that's really great that you can do. So what else do we need to learn about food storage? Storage is something that can be a hobby. It's something you can enjoy. You can get great satisfaction in it. You know, it doesn't have to be something that you despise or drudgery. But if you take your life in your own hands and you be proactive about food storage, you know, it takes a lot of stress off you. Right now, I don't have the stress of things that other people may have, because in the times of plenty is when I worked on it for the times of need. You know, and that's how it is in life. You take the times of plenty and you think about the times of need. And that's what people did in the Depression era. You know, a lot of people in the farms, they didn't think much about the Depression because it didn't affect them like it did other people, because they lived a certain lifestyle. And you don't have to have a garden. You don't have to be a homesteader to have food storage. Anybody can have it. I understand people are on a low income for whatever reason that is, but you can take small steps and make a big difference. Not everybody is going to get buckets and buckets of rice and beans and things like that. People are concerned about rodents. If you keep your food storage clean, treat it like a grocery store. You don't want to go into a dirty grocery store. Just look over it and clean it once a week. Just go over everything and just kind of look at it. You won't have the rodents. All right, my friends, I have 700, 800, I don't know how many videos I have on food storage. I will share with you my playlist at the end of this video, because I share with you everything about food, everything you need to know about rice, about beans, about vegetables, about Mylar bags, about buckets, about everything. I've shared it at all. Subject I have not touched on. So thank you guys so much for listening to my just quick series on food storage when times get bad, like times like these. It's Food Storage 101. I have many beginner videos. Give me your questions. I can answer them. The food storage is my passion. Series on food storage and all kinds of fun ways that you can prepare for who knows what comes next. You know, it could be a job loss, it could be an injury or an illness, or it could be what's going on in the world around us. Food storage is a beautiful way that you can help contribute to your family. And you know what I find? Having food storage gives you something, a motivation, something to feel like you've done something worthwhile. It can become a hobby. I know in the beginning it sounds like it's something rather a lot of work, but you know what? Once you get started, you actually enjoy it and you find it a very rewarding hobby.